Okay, guys, I am Craig, and welcome back to All Nerd Everything, where I discuss everything from movies, TV shows, comic book, wrestling. You know the intro. And today, as the thumbnail says, why everyone is wrong about Superman being boring. I'm going to go into detailed discussion about my favorite superhero, the great Man of Steel, Superman, and why people think he's boring and why you guys are wrong about him being boring. Now, let me start by saying that everyone who thinks that Superman is boring are the people that only watch the films and have never picked up a comic and have never seen any of the live action television series like Smallville or most recently Superman and Lois, which is the best depiction of Superman and Clark Kent, which is done really well, and also the animated series, Superman the animated series, Justice League Unlimited, a lot of the animated series from the DCAU, and also a lot of the animated films as well, such as Superman Unbound, which is the adaptation of Superman versus Brainiac, which is one of my favorite comics. And what I really love about that comic is how Brainiac treats Superman more, you know, alien than human, and thinks that Superman defending humans makes him weak and that he should, lean more to his heritage and being an alien, and that despite him wanting to be a human, he will always be an alien. But Superman disagrees with that narrative and will protect anyone, whether they're an alien or metahuman or human. At the end of the day, Superman does what's right because he's a kind-hearted human being. And unfortunately, the live action films have not done a good job at any of that, especially Zack Snyder's depiction of Superman and pretty much any of the comic book characters that he has depicted in his films, because a lot of them are mass murderers. And let's just stop this. I hate this idea that Zack Snyder made Superman a god alien from Krypton, like hiding among the humans and trying to be human. And that's not who Superman is. Superman is just a regular guy from Kansas who decides to become a superhero because he was raised by parents who taught him that he's capable of doing great things with the powers that he has, and he's able to reach a lot of people and save a lot of lives with the amazing abilities that he possesses. But in any of the go back to the Christopher Reeves films, they do a better job at depicting Superman than a lot of the newer live action movies. And I understand that a lot of people aren't going to watch any of the television series. I know movies are definitely bigger than television, but I would at least suggest, you know, try, for anyone that thinks that Superman is boring, try to at least get into the newer series of Man of Steel, which is Superman and Lois, which is a which is the CW show that debuted a few years ago. And when this show initially debuted, I was very reluctant to watch it because I did not want them to ruin one of my favorite superheroes, because CW has a notorious history of shitting on anything good usually past the second season. Usually, the second season after any TV show is when it peaks. But so far, they've gotten a great budget. The budget for the show is spectacular, and the I feel like the show has jumped a step up in terms of writing over Smallville. I have not seen Smallville from beginning to end, but from what I've seen, I can tell that the writers and the producers of Superman and Lois are Superman fanatics, and I absolutely love it. In the very first episode, one of my favorite scenes, Superman saves the kid from the bus. I mean, from a car that's a flying car that's going to hit him, and he gives the kid his hat back and tells him tells him after the kid thanks him and compliments him on his outfit, he says, "Thanks, my mom made it for me." And that's a direct not that's a adaptation. That's a small scene from one of my favorite Superman comics, which is Superman for All Seasons, one of the best comic books. I suggest Superman haters read that story because it's a great story that humanizes Clark and shows the humanity in Superman, and also how Lex despises him. And what makes Superman such an interesting character and so great is that Superman got the city's love for free because he does what he does because he's a great person. And Lex, he thinks that he's owed the city's love because, money makes the world go round, but money can only buy you money can't buy everything. And Superman for All Seasons, one of the best comic book stories of Superman, and it's told in several different seasons where each person in Clark's life is narrating about him and his impact on people, and also just how they see him as a person. So it takes place from spring, summer, fall, winter, narrated by a lot of supporting characters in his lives, from Lex Luthor to Lois Lane, all these other people. It's a very well written story. The artwork might not be the best, but I really enjoyed the artwork. I loved it. I would also recommend Superman Up in the Sky for people who think that Superman is boring or wanting to get into more Superman um, content. It's a story about a little girl who's kidnapped from Metropolis and during a home invasion, and Superman has to. This is one of the few stories where Superman can't punch his way out of. He has to put on his investigation cape to go find clues to where this girl Allison, I believe her name is Allison, where she could be, and each clue lead each clue that he gets leads her a step towards finding her location. And it just shows that Superman cares about people so much that he's willing to travel to the end of the galaxy to save one person. And one of my favorite the great thing about this story is that we see a lot of flashbacks of Superman and his great stories, and one of them includes a race with the Flash, which I really love. However, I mean, they adapted that in Superman the animated series, and that's one of my favorite episodes. That's great. But when they did it in Justice League, Joss Whedon's Justice League, it didn't feel earned because Josh Whedon was trying to undo the damage that Zack Snyder did to a lot of those characters, especially in Dawn of Justice and Man of Steel. But to be honest, the damage had already been done, and the race between them just, I mean, it was whatever. But if we got a kind hearted Superman that didn't murder people and wasn't treated as a god and portrayed as this, a regular Kansas boy that saves people, then I felt like the race in Justice League between them in the post credit scene would have been, much more cool and exciting and captivating to see. And in Superman Up in the Sky, one of my favorite parts about this story is this when Superman finally finds the location of Allison, she asks, who would win in a fight, you or Batman? And his response is really great. I love his response. His response is him. She asks why when he has all these great strengths and stuff like that. And he says, because I let him. And Allison's Allison's response is, don't you know what you're saying? You have all these great powers and you don't think you can beat them in a fight? And Superman's like, oh, I don't care about any of that. The only thing I care about is my family and my dog and you know helping people. He doesn't care about fighting at all, and that's the one thing that a lot of people have confused is that just because Superman is really strong, that automatically makes him boring, but it isn't. It's his humanity and his beliefs and his ability to, you know, just care for other people and see the goodness in other people when some other people close to him or near him don't. And I another great one is so truth justice. What's so funny about truth justice in the American way, or watch Superman versus the Elite if you guys want a deeper discussion on Superman's morals and why he thinks killing is bad, and which is done really well, and it's probably one of the best Superman stories ever put on paper because Superman's character was kind of in a lot of people's interest in the character was kind of dipping until that story came out, and I felt like it revitalized the love for Superman. And also, stop stop making Superman evil. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see it. I feel like it's a lazy way. It's very lazy and it's a cop out for getting around, you know, getting around the whole Superman thing and just writing original stories for Superman that have not been told before, because the whole Superman being evil thing, it's very lazy. I'm tired of seeing it. There are hundreds of other stories that could be told, and you decide to make him evil again for like 10-15 minutes of a portion of a movie to stretch time out. It just feels, I absolutely hate it. It's like when they go back to the Joker in Batman movies. It's like there are other stories to be told with other villains, and you go back to the Joker. It's similar to that. I absolutely hate the evil Superman thing. Stop doing it. Injustice, this is your fault. Please, for the love of God, stop. So, yeah, that's my opinion on why people dislike Superman. Also, I feel like Superman's intelligence isn't displayed enough as well. Like, Batman is not the only member of the Justice League that's smart. A lot of Superman's best villains are the ones that he doesn't necessarily have to beat with strength alone. He has to use his intelligence to defeat them. One of his best villains is Parasite, in my opinion, and Parasite drains his powers, and he always has to find a way to use his head to think around the situation without his powers to defeat Parasite. So yeah, that's my opinion. Um, Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you guys think or my beloved Man of Steel. He's one of my favorite superheroes ever. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.